Hey folks, once again it's me, RiggerM71. Well, the PC enthusiast community is currently focusing heavily on AMD's new CPU launch, Ryzen. The first 3 processors are due to drop on March 2nd. This may or may not have already happened depending on how long it takes my lazy ass to put this video together. However, regardless of my questionable workflow, I am curiously anxious to see the CPU landscape finally changing after so many years. The first thing I wanted to discuss was AMD's decision to release its premium lineup of CPUs first. As most of you are probably aware by now, this includes the 3 models currently forming the R7 series. These are all 8 cores and 16 threads each, and range in price from $499 for the flagship 1800X, down to $329 for the 1700. While these are very competitive prices, it's important to be aware that there are those of us out here in budget builder land that have never paid $330 for a CPU, let alone anywhere near $500. While I may cave in and end up getting a 1700 at some point, I'm actually more interested in AMD's next lineup, the R5 series. From what I understand, CPUs like the 1600X and 1500 will be among the first to show up under the magic $300 mark. Not to mention that there will be more on the way for even cheaper, as well as a completely different list of budget-oriented R3 processors later on down the road. Historically, more people are inclined to shell out the cash for components under this price point. It makes sense that AMD would release the R7 series first to entice early adopters into paying a premium. That's just the way business works. However, if you're like me, you're anxious to see the R5s, because the mid-range is usually where you get to see the best price-to-performance ratio, especially when it comes to AMD. You can clearly see evidence of this in their effects lineup. Even though the effects line has never been that competitive when stacked against similar Intel processors, I'm still convinced my lowly FX 6300 is one of the best CPUs I've ever owned. That's largely due to the impressive performance when compared to what I paid for it, which was next to nothing. Although it has 2 less cores than its big brothers, it still offers 1080p gaming at high and medium settings for the majority of current titles on the market, when paired with a reasonable graphics card, of course. I've been using mine for approximately 3 years, and I can safely say that at this point, I've got my money's worth out of it. I'm hoping for a similar experience from the R5 Ryzen chips, but of course we'll just have to wait and see how things go down. There is one major caveat to my diabolical upgrade plans, and it is something that needs heavy consideration, and that's the fact that I'm currently still using Windows 7 Professional. Just like Intel's current processors like Kaby Lake, Ryzen CPUs will not be supported by Microsoft on either Windows 7 or Windows 8.1. So in other words, I'm finally being forced to buy Windows 10. Maybe it won't be that bad, but I've heard so many tales of sorrow and woe concerning this OS that I can't help but be a little concerned. If you're in the same position that I am, you'll want to be sure you factor in the cost of a new operating system into your budget. It sucks, but I suppose things have to change at some point. Still, I will miss Windows 7. The good news is that if the hype is to be believed, it looks like we're finally entering an age where competition between CPU manufacturers is actually a thing once again. In fact, I just read that Intel has already planned to drop in pricing on many of its more popular processors in order to more directly compete with Ryzen. This is a perfect example of why Intel users need AMD to succeed. Of course, the reverse is also true. AMD users need Intel to challenge AMD in order for them to improve their hardware and stay in the market. At the end of the day, the consumer, meaning you and me, are the ones that benefit with higher performance processors at a much lower cost, regardless of which platform you choose. So that's it. It's not like there isn't an abundance of AMD Ryzen videos currently circulating around YouTube, but I figured one more couldn't hurt. As usual, if any of this resembled anything remotely informative, you can certainly hit the like button or even subscribe to the channel. You can also leave a comment below if you have something to say about any of the stuff that I just rambled on about. Regardless, take care, and of course, have fun.